When was the last time you fell? I'm talking a hard, hit the ground, concrete kissing fall. Were you drunk? Were people around? Was it daylight? Did someone laugh? Did you laugh? Was there blood? How vividly do you remember it? I'm going to tell you about mine. Put this story into perspective, I've only told one other person in the entire world this story. And I only told this girl this story because I figured there was like a 55 to 65% chance that I would never see her again. And turns out that estimate was a little generous because I told her this story in November 2023, the fall of my senior year. And I haven't seen her since. First, I need to orient you. I went to USC in Los Angeles, and on campus there is a walkway called Truesdale. And Truesdale is really the center of campus. It's right after the first entrance, and it continues all the way down to the back entrance and to the Coliseum, which is where the football games are. And, you have to walk across or down or over Truesdale, really no matter where you are going on campus. You're always walking down Truesdale. So you can imagine how busy a walkway like Truesdale gets. Nearly 50,000 people go to USC, and during a passing period, even though it's like this ginormous wide walkway surrounded by palm trees, it feels like the most crowded, overstuffed hallway in your high school, basically. One morning, I was biking to campus, and I had a beautiful bike, okay? A beautiful yellow beach bike. It had flowers on it, and I put this lovely pastel green bike basket on it. I really, really loved this bike. People even knew me by this bike by the end of that year. If they saw it parked outside a building, I called this bike Angie. Everyone knew Angie, okay, is what I'm trying to tell you. Well, one day I was biking to campus at 8:45 a.m. Before I get to this part of the story, I'd like to preface that I've never been a great cyclist or biker. My middle school every year did a roller skating unit, and every year I would dread it so intensely. It was like this 2-week unit, and it was like 5th through 8th grade. And I remember one day I was like gripping the bleachers, had my skates on, but just so terrified. Maybe I was like in 6th or 7th grade. So I'd been doing it, this was no surprise that this unit was coming up. And my PE teacher came up to me and she was like, "Shanley, you're going to be fine if you just stop being afraid to fall. I can see it in you. You're so afraid to fall." And I remember even thinking, like, could she be even more stupid? Like, of course I'm afraid to fall. Everyone is afraid to fall. Well, now I'm 23 and I know that not everyone is afraid to fall in more ways than one. All this is to say is that I'm not a great bike rider, okay? I'm riding my bike on Truesdale, and I was wearing different shoes than I normally ever did. I was wearing these black high-top Converse, and I'd had these shoes since high school, and for some reason I was moved to wear them that morning. But anyway, I'm riding my bike, and I looked down, and these shoes had very, very long laces. So I remember even tying them like 2 or 3 times, and the bow lace was even still so long. Anyway, I looked down, and one of my shoelace was stuck in the bike pedal. Anyway, I noticed this, and I remember thinking, don't panic, you're fine. I literally started talking to myself. So I stopped pedaling, and I was just like coasting on a bike, and I was trying to find a spot to pull over, but remember, like, literally everyone on campus is present. There's no room for me to pull over. Well, I'm sure you know what happens next. I fall. And that's sort of an understatement, actually. Really what happens is that I slowly tip over because I couldn't put my foot out to catch my fall because it was stuck in the pedal. So I fall really, really hard. like just a complete sideways, me on the bike, tipped over, or lay on, it all just hits the pavement. My headphones go flying. My bike basket also goes flying a few feet ahead of me, and all the books that were in it go flying. My backpack that was super heavy is like weighing me down. It makes, I'm just on the concrete floor, but I couldn't get up because my foot, my inside foot was still stuck in the bike. So like people are like looking around like, oh, that's so sad, she fell, why can't she get, like, she should get up by now, and I can't. So very, very nicely, but also like terrifying and like horrifically, and this is so embarrassing, like 2 guys come over because they realize that I can't get up. The one guy like lifts the bike off of me, and then the other guy helps me unget my shoelace, which was stuck in the pedal. And this has become like quite an operation now. Like people are involved, other people go and collect my things that are, you know, strewn about. I was trembling, I was sweating, my face was bright red. I didn't want to like look at my wounds because I was afraid. But everything hurt. I was just like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. You can do this, you can do this. Like that's like the voice in my head yelling. I tell the people thank you. At least I think I did. I hope I did. I definitely was blacked out at that point. And I, you know, get my bike, and now I'm just like, you know, walking it, and I very, very quickly walk it across Truesdale, but like people have stopped to watch this whole spectacle, by the way, and I'm like running it across very quickly. I park it outside of the first building that I can. I lock it, but at this point I'm like, I hope you get stolen, like please someone take you. I run into the building, and I run into one of the bathrooms, and it was like a single stall, so I get in there and I'm immediately bawling, like immediately, like I hadn't even locked the door and tears were streaming down my face. I remember being like particularly distraught because I was so mad at how many colors I had been wearing that day. I was wearing pink pants, and then of course I'm on this yellow bike with my blue headphones, and I just felt like very memorable. So like all day people were walking around like, did you see the girl in the pink pants fall off her yellow bike? Now probably people weren't like remembering the colors that I was wearing, but I just felt so like, if maybe I had been wearing black or gray, I'd be more forgettable. But no, I was in pink pants. Once I made it home, I parked the bike where I always parked it, locked it, and never rode it again. Truly never again. I went the entire rest of my senior year not touching it. My roommates would even say, oh, Shanley, I never see you ride Angie anymore. And I'd say, oh, like I prefer to walk now. And that also wasn't the last time that I rode that bike. That was the last time I rode a bike. Okay, it is now January 2025. I graduated in May 2024. You were probably sitting here wondering, why is she telling this story? Okay, I will tell you. Last week, I was rejected from something that I really, really wanted. And I can't even put into words how much I wanted this thing. It was all I thought about for months. Once I knew I was up for it, I thought about it every single day. Like truly, there are not enough words to convey. Just know that I wanted this thing so bad, and maybe this was too hopeful, but I thought I could get it. I thought I had a lot of hope. And I remember all last week, right after I read that email, all I could think about and all I felt like was, oh, I just fell off my bike. I think what my PE teacher was trying to tell me that day, which looking back was really good life advice, is that you shouldn't be scared to fall, because then it makes it infinitely harder to stand up again. And if you're not afraid to fall, then you sort of take away that moment's power over you, because you know, oh, I'll just fall and then I'll stand up again. But if you're afraid to fall, then you almost can't even imagine standing up again. When I write, I always imagine that I have this imaginary cigarette in my hand, and I know this sounds a little silly, but it's one of the mental tricks that I do, maybe if I'm having writer's block, and it actually does help. It makes me feel a little cool, makes me write a little faster. And last week, I felt like I had lost my cigarette. I'd lost my confidence, I'd lost my mojo, I'd fallen off my bike, and I wanted this week to be all about standing up again, getting that cigarette back. My boyfriend bought me a pack of fake cigarettes on Amazon last week to help me get my mojo back. And these are like musical theater props. Like there's literally, you can't really see but glitter on the edge of this, so that if you were on stage, it would like glimmer. And I hate to say, like holding this thing does kind of make me feel a little cooler. Even if it is for like a 6th grader in Oliver, it makes me feel cooler. And I'm not embarrassed about that in the slightest, because I'm a product of the John Green Tumblr generation. So of course I'm obsessed with a hypothetical cigarette. Core of this, I was trying to get my cigarette back. I was trying to get back on my bike after that rejection, that soul-crushing rejection. So to do all this, I don't know why, but I decided I needed to ride a bike. I needed to get on an actual bike. Now, I wish I could tell you that after all this time, literally a year and a half, that getting on that stupid thing was so easy and that I didn't have any fear. But that would be a lie. I was so scared. I took every precaution I could. I tied my shoes so carefully, like 3 or 4 times, and then I tucked the extra laces into the shoe. Once I got the bike, I walked it down the hill to like the most flat, safe area, and then I got on the bike, and for the first minute and a half, regret was really like ripping through my body. I kept getting on the bike and then getting off of the bike and then getting on the bike and getting off of the bike, and then I started to regret my outfit again because I wore pink because I thought, you know, it would bring me closure. It just made me feel more awkward. And then slowly, gradually, incrementally, marginally, somewhere on the Embarcadero, pedaling very slowly and far away from anyone, I got my cigarette back. And you know what? It might be a little stupid or naive to think that getting on that bike had any grand effect on my riding for the week. Okay? But I think it did have an effect. Somehow today I hit 2K. Okay, so I